when Lord Narasimhadev was ripping Hiranyakashipu to pieces, Prahlad loved his father. He loved his father more than anyone else in creation. He was the only person in the whole creation that loved his father. His father hated him. Now, we never see paintings or read episodes in Bhagavatam where when Lord Narasimhadev is he's ripping Hiranyakashipu's abdomen open and pulling out his intestines and growling and putting garland of bloody entrails on his body. Can you imagine seeing your father die like that? The father's flapping and squirming in pain and we don't hear of Prahlad holding his eyes or running away or screaming. He was in ecstasy. He was standing there folding his hands, smiling. How nice, how wonderful. My Lord is so merciful. Because he wasn't just seeing the physical condition. He was seeing, my father is being liberated by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. How wonderful. And when Narasimhadev offered him benediction, what was benediction? My father was such a cruel demon. Please give him liberation. That is love. Love for the soul. Not the sentimental love on the bodily platform. Because such sentimental love on the bodily platform could, if for all practical purposes, be an expression of cruelty to the soul. That is why knowledge is so important. But unless knowledge is being directed by previous acharyas, even that knowledge becomes corrupt. So Hiranyakashipu, he's telling this wonderful story, but he's living completely opposite. Quite amazing. Back to the story he's telling. The queens are doing the greatest injustice, the greatest harm to the soul of King Suyagya. Because of their sentimental, so-called love, he's bound, trapped in a ghost body, attached to a dead corpse, and he can't go on. Yamaraj appears. But he appears in a way to change their hearts, to release Suyagya and remove the ignorance from these queens so that they can move forward on the path of Dharma. In order to do so, he manifests the body of a child. Because it is obvious here that if he came as Yamaraj, the queens would offer all respect, but they would be expecting some kind of philosophy from him. And they were not in a mood of philosophy. Sometimes when your mind is really affected it's immune to any kind of philosophy. Yes? Sometimes if it's affected by the arrows of Kamadev. Yes, we have seen. And that arrow pierces the heart, creates flames, infatuation. And then you preach nice philosophy. In fact, you can even say, Prabhu, I'm going to quote you from your own class last year. You taught me this. Person, I can't hear it. I can't hear it. There's too many other voices going on in my mind. I know the philosophy. How many times we have experienced this in people and in ourselves. I know the philosophy. I know what should be done. I know what should not be done. But sometimes due to aggrievement, sometimes due to anger, greed, lust, pride, illusion. These powers control us so much that even if somebody comes and speaks philosophy, even if we're reading right in the book, still, it doesn't touch our hearts. We're being controlled. So preaching is really about changing a person's heart. When our beloved Guru Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada, came to the West, he understood that there were formal, standard, traditional methods. But ultimately, what works to transform a person's consciousness? That's real compassion. And he made many adjustments to somehow or other reach people's hearts. So Yamaraj understood that if he comes as a small boy, these queens, their hearts are going to melt seeing a little boy. And if a little boy speaks philosophy, it's enchanting. It's just, you're not expecting it. It's very sweet. It's irresistible. Especially to ladies. Yes, little boy. So he appeared like that. Because his intention was to change their hearts. In the coming verses, Yamaraj is going to tell them that you're so worried about your future? Look at us little children. I don't have a mother. I don't have a father. I'm wandering through the forest. No ferocious animals are eating me. I'm not starving. I'm not freezing. I'm happy. Because the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Lord, is my protector. And look at these big, big adults, ladies. They're also worried about things. Don't they understand that if you're just, the Lord will protect you? Hiranyakashipu is telling this. And they'd go to eat the food, but the food would be within a net. And as they were eating and enjoying, they'd be trapped. So there was a male and female, something like husband and wife, consorts. And they loved each other, and they had children. Now the hunter knows exactly how to get them. Just like Maya knows how to get you and me. Maya is the hunter, and we are her prey. Now, for materialistic people, they're already in the net. They've been in the net since time immemorial. They're trapped. They are her property. They are not only her property, they are her agents. Propagating and promoting her campaign to keep everyone in illusion, to keep everyone away from the loving devotional service of Radha and Krishna. So, Mayadhyakshena prakriti suyate sacharacharam. Maya is Krishna's energy. Daivi yeshu gunamayi mama maya duratyaya. This Maya, this illusory energy, Krishna said it is my divine potency, consisting of 3 modes of material nature. Maya is all-powerful. There is no power that can resist Maya within all of existence. Even the greatest of the devatas, the greatest of the rishis, Vishwamitra Muni, brahmacharis, what is your tapasya compared to Vishwamitra Muni? But he fell victim to Maya until he took shelter of the Lord. Only if we take shelter of the Lord protects us from Maya. You cannot protect yourself from Maya, but the Lord has the power to remove the obstacles, to protect you in all situations. But we must take shelter. Bhakti is about understanding our insignificant constitutional nature. The jiva has no power against Maya unless it takes shelter of the Supreme Lord. Then Maya cannot touch us. So Maya is very powerful. And when you try to become a devotee, she wants to get you back in her net. And she knows what you used to like, what weaknesses are there, and beware. It's all going to come in due course of time. That's why our sadhana is so important. So that whatever may come in our direction from Maya, we will have the strength and the intelligence of Krishna to protect us, of Guru and the Vaishnavas to protect us. Otherwise, we're finished. In one purport, Srila Prabhupada explains, unless one is chanting attentively 16 rounds of Hare Krishna Mahamantra every day, then at any moment that person may fall victim to Maya. We have to prepare ourselves. It's not maybe, it's not if, it's for sure. Maya is going to try to get us in that net by putting the food, the bait that will attract us. So just the food that lady Kalinga bird liked. Oh, how happy she must have been. It's right here. I'm looking everywhere and it's right here. So nice. Now, for devotees, that temptation could be so powerful. We need the association of devotees to protect us. If she had some god sisters around her, they would be saying, Mataji, it's Maya's trap. Don't you see the net all around it? Oh, okay. They'd hold her back somehow or other. But sometimes even after doing, I don't believe you, I know what I'm doing, get away from me. Trap. So there she was, trapped in the net. And Mr. Kalinga, he sees Mrs. Kalinga in the trap. Oh, how it grieved his heart. He was tears coming from his Kalinga eyes. How will I live? She's half my body. How could I live without her? It's not fair. Why has Providence done that? We have little bird children whose wings are not even grown. They cannot fly. They cannot protect themselves. They cannot survive. They are depending on the mother. Why, Providence? Why have you done this to my wife? What about me? What about my children? I can't take care of my children without her. Oh, how unfair. Why is this happening? And meanwhile, the hunter's just watching everything. Perfect. Just perfect. As they say in capitalistic society, 2 for the price of 1. By getting the wife, because of the attachment of the husband, he's just standing right over the net, screaming. In his crying out in lamentation for his wife, he's actually calling the hunter to come and get him. He shoots his arrow. And the Kalinga bird, the male, shot dead and falls into the net. Hare Krishna. Yamaraj tells the story. So similarly, dear queens, don't you see you're in the same position? No matter how much you cry, no matter how much you weep, no matter how much you squeeze this dead corpse, your husband is dead. He'll never come back. But we are all spirit souls. Let go. Move forward. Yamaraj is inspiring them to take shelter of the Supreme Lord. And Hiranyakashipu knows this philosophy. When I was with His Holiness Bhakti Tirtha Swami Maharaj during his last weeks, at one time he made a decision that he would enter into Nirjan Bhajan. Well, he was cutting off all communication with everyone except his immediate caretakers, so that he could totally absorb himself in hearing and chanting the glories of Radha and Krishna. So I was one of the caretakers. And we would spend hours every day just sharing Krishna Katha. It was so sweet, it was so beautiful. Meanwhile, he wouldn't see anyone. He wouldn't, no emails, no phone calls. It was only Hari Katha and going through very, very painful condition, but he wanted to fix his mind on Krishna. So there were senior godbrothers who wanted to come and see him. They were calling. He wouldn't see them. There were disciples, so loving disciples who wanted to see him. Wouldn't see them. I asked Maharaj, you don't even have to talk to them. We just have Nam Sankirtan and they could just come in and they could offer obeisances and just tell you how much they appreciate and grateful, and then they could leave. He said, Everyone's already done that. He said, because there's so much love I have for them, and there's so much love that they have for me. Even if they don't say anything, they'll come in and look at me, and I'll look at them, and they'll start crying because of their imminent separation. And he said that exchange will keep me bound to this body and to my relationship with them on this level. He said, I want to fix my consciousness on my relationship with Radha and Krishna in Goloka Vrindavan. I want to fix my consciousness on my relationship with all these devotees in Goloka Vrindavan. That is the best I could do for them. Otherwise, it makes it difficult for me to give up this body as long as people are crying all around me. That was his spirit of devotion at that particular time. It's not that he wanted to neglect them, it's not that he wanted to leave them, it's not that he wanted to reject them. It's that he wanted to help them to go to Goloka, Vrindavan. He wanted to help bring them upward. But in order to do so, he felt at that particular time in his life, where he was at the last stages of terminal cancer, that I have to free myself from my identity as a preacher in this world. I've given my life to be a preacher in this world, but at this particular time, I have to give up my identity as a preacher in this world and try to focus on my identity as an associate of Krishna in the spiritual world. In a similar way, Yamaraj is preaching here. Mahajano yena kata sapanta. The path of perfection is we must follow the Mahajans. And here Mahajan is speaking. What is real love? Real love is for the soul. Machchita matkata prana bodhayanta parasparam katayantascha mam nityam tushyanti charamanti cha. What is the love between devotees? It is enlightening each other, inspiring each other in Krishna, discussing Krishna, chanting together the names of Krishna, hearing about Krishna, speaking about Krishna, serving Krishna, exchanging Krishna. That is love. Inspiration to the soul. And that is what Vaishnava society is about. Real Vaishnava society means no false ego. Gopi Bharatur Padakamalayora Dasa Dasa Das Anudas, to be the servant of the servant of the servant of the Lord of Gopis, Sri Krishna. And what is the greatest service, the para upakar, the greatest welfare we can do for the world in general, and the greatest service we can do for each other? To assist one another in focusing the mind on Krishna. When Sripad Madhavendra Puri was in his last days, his dear disciple Ishvara Puri his actions were so exemplary for all of us. If we analyze his service to his guru, there were two principles. One is the most menial, humble service attitude. And the other, constantly chanting Krishna's name and speaking Krishna's glories. The two captured the heart of his Guru Maharaj. One without the other is not complete in capturing Guru and Krishna's heart. They must be together. That is why Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in teaching us how to fix our mind in Krishna by chanting his names, he gave this verse. Trinadapi sunichena taror iba sahishnuna hamanina manadena kirtaniya sadahari. We can only constantly chant Krishna's names. We can only constantly develop that taste for Krishna's teachings, Krishna's pastimes, Krishna's form, Krishna's divine, loving nature. When we are humble like a blade of grass, tolerant and forgiving like a tree, eager to give respect to others and expect no respect for oneself. Only in that state of consciousness can we develop that taste to hear and chant constantly. So here was Ishwara Puri. He was constantly chanting the glories of the Lord for his Guru Maharaj as a service. His Guru Maharaj was in such a high state of love and separation. And in that state of separation, it's the most humbling of all states of consciousness. When the residents of Vrindavan are with Krishna, Sambhog, sometimes they're very happy. Krishna's only with me. When Krishna's sitting on bank of Yamuna with Balaramji taking prasad, there's so many gopas around him eating prasad. And everyone is thinking, Krishna's only looking at me. Of all the other cowherd boys, he's looking at me. During Ras Leela, all gopis are thinking, Krishna's only dancing with me. But when Krishna left, in Vipralamba Seva, everybody became just absolutely humble in that separation. They are both completely pure divine states, but still, Madhavendra Puri, feeling separation from Krishna, like a gopi after Krishna left for Mathura. He's crying. Oh Lord of Mathura, where have you gone? My heart is broken. What shall I do now? That was his humility, the ultimate humility of separation and love. He was thinking helpless. I've lost Krishna. In Gambhira, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu for 12 years, constantly, that was his state. That total humility. Krishna left me. Where is Krishna? That was Madhavendra Puri's state. And he's asking Ishwara Puri, tell me about Krishna, fill me with Krishna. And as a humble service, Ishwara Puri, he's not thinking, I am now the guru of my guru. My guru is inquiring from me, my guru wants to hear Hari Katha from me. He was not like that. My guru is so exalted. And me of all, insignificant. He wants to hear Hari Katha for me. He's serving him by constantly hearing and by constantly chanting the glories of the Lord, but at the same time performing the most menial possible services. He's willing to stay up all day and all night to turn his guru's body over when it needs to be go over with his own hands. Now, Ishwarapuri at the time was a great sannyasi. He could have called one of his servants. I'll do the Hari Katha. You, Govinda Prabhu, you come, you clean all the stool and urine while I do Hari Katha. He could have said like that. But no. With his own hands, he was washing the body of his guru. With his own hands, he didn't put on those plastic sanitation gloves either. With his own hands, he was cleaning the urine. He was cleaning the stool. Feeling what a blessing this is. This was his humility. How merciful my Guru Maharaj is that he's giving me this most exalted service. The great Narottam Das Thakur was also in that consciousness. Lokanath Goswami was hesitant to initiate him because he had never initiated anyone. He was a personal associate of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The Lord had left the world. His dearmost life and soul was Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami. They lived together for so many long years in Sri Vrindavan Dham. They had both left the world. Lokanath Goswami was simply weeping in separation from the Lord and his associates. Narottam Das Thakur wanted to serve. Early in the morning, he would go to that place where Lokanath Goswami would perform his duties prior to bathing in Yamuna. And he would clean the area very carefully, where Lokanath Goswami would respond to the calls of nature. Why is this happening? Lokanath Goswami couldn't understand why every day it's so clean, it's so fresh. So he secretly watched. He came early to see who was doing. And there he saw Narottam Das Thakur with tears of gratitude in his eyes, chanting the holy names of the Lord, chanting the praises of his Guru in his heart. He was cleaning with his hands. He emerged from the bushes. Narottam, why? Why? You are a prince. You are meant to be a king. Such a scholar. Such a great devotee. Why? Cleaning my urine and stool with your hands every day. Narottam Das Thakur, with folded palms, revealed his heart. By renouncing the wealth of this world, I have achieved the highest of all wealth, the greatest treasure of menial service to my Guru Maharaj. Yes, Ishwarapuri was serving his Guru with utter humility. And thus he was empowered to chant the glories of the Lord in such a way that Madhavendra Puri he was so pleased that he reciprocated by granting the highest blessing. To Ishwara Puri, Madhavendra Puri said, I bless you, my son. May you have love for Krishna. That blessing empowered Ishwara Puri to the highest state of bhakti. So much so that Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Radha Bhavaduti Suvalitam Nomi Krishna Swarupam, who was Krishna tasting the sweetness of Radha's love. That Lord accepted Ishwara Puri as his guru. And we read in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat, how Lord Gauranga performed menial services to Ishwara Puri. And listened to him attentively, took initiation from him. This is the spirit of devotion. And it is this principle that Srimad Bhagavatam is revealing through these pages. The time was appropriate for the body to be burned, but the queens, not allowing it to be taken away, continued lamenting for the dead body, which they kept on their laps. In the meantime, the sun completed its movement for setting in the west. Yes, the real love amongst devotees is to be humble servant of the servant to one another, and to constantly try to enliven, inspire, and nourish each other by speaking about Krishna, by chanting Krishna, by together being engaged in Krishna seva. And if that attitude of humble servitude and deep attachment to hearing and chanting is established between us, Krishna manifests. Krishna is all attractive. Krishna will attract our own hearts, and Krishna will attract the world to the sangam of such ecstatic devotees sharing Krishna with each other. And then when we come together for Nam Sankirtan, the spiritual world manifests. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Much louder.